As a college graduate, I should start with data engineering or should I get into programming and then get into data engineering? What are the challenges you went into getting into US?
Came from very rural background of Tamil Nadu. I started from Coimbatore in Cognizant for about 5.5 years.
What is Snowflake? What is data engineering? Azure, AWS or Google Cloud. Pick one for rest of your career. Which one would it be and why? Should data privacy be compromised for better AI algorithms? Which will be more influential in 10 years, data engineering or data science? Would you rather work for a startup or a corporate? Hi Ganesh, thank you for joining me in to this very special episode about data engineering. Thank you so much for making it all the way. So let's start. Just give your intro on who you are and what is data engineering.
I'm a Ganesh Kaliappan, data engineering leader for Philips.
Okay.
I'm doing this role for past 15 years, solving business problem by providing needful data solutions to wherever opportunities comes up. I have a very solid background on the data engineering and started with data, how it evolved, how we created an application using the data and data migration, data products. Now we are into a cloud data engineering world, and we are looking forward for the Gen AI, which will swarm the futures.
Swarm the futures.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because the data engineering is an evolving term, so that's where I am. Before I got into the data engineering, I came from very rural background of Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
I started from Coimbatore in the rural grounds. To be frank, like I am the first engineer comes out of the entire panchayat in my village, and after that I went to GCT Coimbatore and got into a Tata consultancy services, served Mumbai for 3 years for them, and Cognizant for about 5.5 years. I traveled to US.
So your journey towards US, can you just emphasize on what? Because as an engineer, we always dream to go on site, or maybe when you're in TCS, you always, you have that mindset of going on site and working abroad. So just before you got into US, what are the challenges you went into getting into US?
Yeah, so there are quite many challenges, but I look at it as an opportunity. So whenever you face some challenges, that gives you an opportunity, right? Like if you didn't get any challenges, then obviously you are not in the right spot. So for me, in the latest record of the US job opening in 2022, around like 220K jobs were open, out of which 50% are for data engineers. Can you believe? So it's like taking the entire swamp of the data industry. So the scope for data engineers are there in US. That's what I want to make a point.
So how was your US? You were there for how long in US?
I was there nearly 6.5 years in US.
6.5 years.
So been in all three part of the US. People used to Central America, in the Eastern America, and then Western. So I were in like 3 timing: East Coast, West Coast, and
3 zones.
Correct. It's an interesting journey. It's an interesting country also to be there. I served them for 7 years. In the later point of the 3 years, I was working for NBC Universal.
No. First, you went first. Which company was it? Pharmaceutical management, and then from there, how did you shift gears to another company?
So if you are in a certain visa grade of yours, you can able to change the employers.
Acha. So that it's not applicable for the starting visa level.
Yeah, so there are different visa levels are there in US. People who are on the journey, they know, like L1, H1. These are the 2 major visa grade people used to go to US. So if you are in L1, you kind of tag to an employer. If you are in a H1, you can choose your employer after that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so because it's very hard to get the H1. Yeah. Because there is a lot of lotteries are there, and there are a lot of process to get in. But once you get into the H1, you can start your journey. So US look you as a technical consultant who can able to solve the problem which is not exist over there. So that's how these visas are given. So there is a problem which exists and which is yet to be solved out there, and there is a mind out there in out in India who can able to solve. So they
their problems.
Yeah. So that's the reason. Usually, it's like every year they will extend it, but I highly recommend, like, it's when you go to US, right? You always look forward the ways of not only grow yourself, but also try to solve the problem and be there in solving that problem, that industry. That's the important thing.
So when you went, you were in L1 visa?
No, it's H1 only.
You went in H1 itself. Okay.
Because alone is a different story where it will be like kind of a senior role who always get in alone. That rejection rates are very high, and also the role to be for you and eligible alone, you need to have a lot of senior role, having managing a team and things like that. There are a lot of parameters out there, but alone will help you to get your residence or something like the green card kind of process easy than a H1, I would say.
But then you're always tagged to a single employer.
Correct, that's fine, right? After you become a citizen or GC candidate, you can then change over.
As a green card, once you get your green card, you can then change your.
Correct.
That's what you're trying. Okay, interesting. So then my question is, like, you got into first 3 years you worked for this pharmaceutical company, then how did you change your employer there?
So every career, right, you should have some godfather who can able to help you out.
Yes, I believe in that.
Yeah, because they need to be, the term mentor nowadays comes up, but I feel that there is a senior person who look after you or who provide you a career path. So that way, I got a very good a senior manager of mine who recommended me, Ganesh, like, probably you can solve more problem now. You have achieved that kind of a maturity and experience. Why can't you go out and explore, right? If there is a greater opportunity is there, why you want to shut your door?
So he referred you to, so
Correct.
the same guy who was in pharmaceutical, he had referred you to another
Correct, yeah.
company.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. And from that, like, I went outside and explored the market, and there was a great opportunity from NBC Universal.
Okay.
By then, it was cloud first strategy was there in every industry, like 15, 16.
So you joined as a cloud engineer there?
No, I was an Informatica Teradata person. I worked for TV production, TV distribution, box office. NBC. People know Universal Studios. They can relate it. It has a media is there, TV, parks, recreation, entertainment industry.
So what is Informatica?
Yeah, so Informatica is a tool which can help you to bring the data from different sources of the data. We call it as a ETL tool.
Okay, it's an ETL tool where you get different, where you pool the data from various sources.
Correct.
And is it stores also, or is it a data storage service also? Or?
No, it doesn't store it.
Pools.
Yeah, but it gather the information about what data you brought in. So they have various tools. Informatica Power Center, Informatica Master Data Management. So a lot of tools are there in Informatica, but now they also converted into a cloud tool.
Okay.
So that is also build up later on. But I started with the Informatica Power Center developer. So it was a great experience for me to connect these heterogeneous sources. Right, the data is in different format. Like TV production is in different format. Film box office, the dollar amount collected and things like that. That data is in a different format.
Okay.
And even if you do a salary, that's in a different tool and different format.
So after in this production team, what was your third company you jumped? You moved to 3 different companies, what you said, and then
Correct.
What was the third company you got into?
Yeah, so I always made my mind I want to come back to India at one point of time. So that's why I wanted to be in India in a longer.
So how did you? Obviously, I believe that India tech is booming like anything. But how did you made up your mind to come back to India? Was it even going before you had that vision, or after going there you had that?
No, before going there itself, I had the vision because I just want to go there for interim. But I know there are friends who come who join along with me, they will say like in another 6 months I will go back to India, but they're still there because that's the country. If you experience that, then people will take a very hard decision to go back to.
Yeah, it is hard decision. I believe it's still harder. It's still hard to come back to India, but still, nowadays I think I don't know. I have not been to US, so I am not.
It's nowadays IT is a global.
But what is
global.
your thought? Yeah.
Yeah, because global, it doesn't matter where you are, and if you want to be in certain country for certain other features, that's fine. But after COVID, every world is connected in internet, and it doesn't matter. I would say it's a global employee is what I would always look forward. Whatever you create here, it makes an impact in global locations, and especially the pool, the technical pool that India has. It really making shift or impacting the whole world at all. Recently, I went to one of the preschool. Here, you won't believe me. In the preschool, there is a post. I can also share you that picture. Probably you can put it there. So what it's told me, there were like preschool piano classes were there, keyboard, dancing, and all things. In that, there is a coding Python is there
For preschool.
preschool. I was shocked. Literally, I was shocked very recently. Then I saw like how we are preparing that India, right? Like now we need to prepare for the next generation. How much the technical strength that minds will bring in. I know it's right or
Did you research more on that?
yeah, because I asked them. I thought maybe Python means maybe a snake dance or something like that. And I really went and asked that person, what is this all about that you have a separate award category for Python? He told me it's a Python class for preschool that they are teaching, and it's award for the who are able to solve it or something like that. So imagine that next gen is coming with a great talent.
So I just heard that a 4-year guy, 4-year kids are learning programming. That was just shocking. Now you're talking about preschool. Kids are training. I don't even know what how they do it, but
yeah, they started.
If it is useful or not, I do not know.
Yeah, there is a debatable topic, but anyway, it's happening. See, the Gen AI is also like that, right? Like whether you're liking it or not liking it, it's gonna take you. That AI is there in all the industry, and it's making. I look at it like that only. Whether you put your kid over there or not, but the idea is like the young generation is now started learning the latest programming languages, and they started the journey from very younger ages.
Yeah, but we were talking about like your third company in US. So you were talking about coming back to India. So can you just complete that?
Yeah, correct. So because before the COVID impact reaches the global world, the tenure of my visa where I was tagged is also kind of ended. And also I had an opportunity, or I'm still continuing my visa, that permanent citizen visa with the US. That's still on the roll. But I want to take a break and I want to go to my home country. That's why I'm here. Okay. So the client also supported me because they recognize that the value of me solving the problem in that the journey in the 3 years in US. The technology wise, we shifted from Informatica to cloud. So that AWS,
so in the third company, which is the third company first?
It's a Capgemini.
Capgemini, US.
Yeah.
And then you were still Informatica engineer in Capgemini?
Yeah, so it was a technical architect role, to be specifically. Yeah, it's not tapped to any Informatica because, see, for me, the tools are the secondary. You can learn it in a shorter program, but the knowledge of, let's say, the engineering is a term, right? That's why they call it as a beautifully data engineering. So it has a process, right? How you collect the data, how you massage the data, how you preserve the data and present the data to the other tools or reports or data models. So that's the engineering concept. So we can add more tools every now and then. There is a tools will give a greater performance, greater helpfulness to solve the problem. But over the period of time, that will also give you like more cost and things like that. There is another tool will evolve. So you have to always keep yourself updated.
Yeah, basically, your intelligence will help you to use those tools effectively. And obviously, we are in a marketplace where new things will keep coming up and we'll have to catch up and get to it.
Correct.
Okay. So So then, yeah, but you didn't complete the coming back to India part.
Yeah, so over there, after my visa cases, I may not be able to continue over there. And the client requested me to continue, because for me the shift from Capgemini to Capgemini is like kind of joining a new company only.
Or from it's the same company, Capgemini US to
Correct.
Capgemini India, but it's a huge shift.
Yeah, it's like resigning there and then joining as a new employer here. So, but the management also helped me, and I continue.
I want to ask, you have come to India. What was the shift did you feel? The US working style and India working style. What was it? How? So you have seen India US, but then again coming back to India, how was the difference?
Yeah, kind of challenging only, because every people who made this shift, they know what I'm talking about, because it's a two different culture altogether. Because in US you start very early, and after 4 or 5 hours nobody cares, like you go and take your own time and things like that. But in India it's a little bit, right, we need to change it to a little bit of evening time. You need to be in office, or solving or joining the calls for the US folks and things like that. So where you need to make a little bit shift. And see, I kind of adapted to US culture, and it's hard for my family also, because my kids were studied over there. So for them to get adapted is also another story. Uh, but now they are kind of adapted. But initial days, even my kid used to go to school, and he used to tell me, "Daddy, like it's too noisy. The teachers are too noisy and friends are too noisy. I can't even wear. I want to go back." She just like 4 years by then. It's very hard to adapt the culture of India.
Adapt back.
Yeah.
Once from there,
They didn't see India, right? I saw the India. I know what's there, but it's for them it's new, and because the value that culture that India has, right? I see in a long time the US also coming up now, but they need to, like, I want the safer place for my kid would be like India. No?
basically, what clicks you in or clinches you in is the value system.
Correct. What we are building, that family system that we have, that that bonding that we have, things like that made my mind okay. Maybe in this century or a couple of centuries we are off, but we are in the direction to make that world will look out or India sooner.
So you say the value system in India, what you want to provide to your kids is very important, and that's why having little tough time here is okay with you as a long-term investment for your family future. Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, I think it really depends on how individual takes it, but I really believe like value system is important to drive the family and have a long-term game there. Cool. So you joined back India, Capgemini, and like you were in the same role, or how is it?
Yeah, same one, because but now the challenges are given to me is like I need to build all the practice, so I need to grow the other technical minds in my team who are very new to Snowflake, because Snowflake by then it was started emerging in the industry. So let me tell you a few information about this.
Yeah, first, what I would like to know is what is Snowflake, uh, or just before we get into Snowflake, what is data engineering? Can you just give, because what my idea with this episode is like, if anybody is looking forward to get into data engineering, they should know what is data engineering and what is what to expect out of it. So what is data engineering? What to expect out of it?
Sure. So before I talk about the data engineering, let me tell you about the data that will help you or set the context to that team. So the data is like a storage. That's where the data first started. Like, how do you store the data in a certain format, right? Okay. So initially it's a floppy disk, and then how they store the data. After that CD comes in, and then that computer comes in, and hard drive and things like that. It's started evolving. Yeah. So the way that you store the data and then the way you access the data, there are two things are there. So you can just store it as and when you get the data, and then when you want to look out, okay, where my data is there, okay. Let's say that TV episodes that we are shooting today, if you store it in a wherever that you received, one point of time you're not able to go and retrieve, okay, which episode, which time frame, and things like that. So there is a way that you need to store the data so that you can easily able to retrieve it whenever you needed in a specific cases and things like that. So that's where the data kind of evolved in a technology wise. The data engineering also,
So it's more about a storage than, first of all, data engineering. What is data is all about storage, is what you mean?
Correct. So the data is evolving. So the collection of data also getting like grown up. Every industry, let's say if you want to run a tea shop, you need to know, okay, your income, you need to pay to whatever the vendors, what is your income and the cycle and things like that. Right? So every industry started revolving or increasing the storage medium of the data. And also, so that's where the engineer role started, evolving. How do we bring the data in a proper format? Whenever it got generated, you need to bring the data, right? Or else that the generation spot, you will lose the data. So whenever the data is generated, you need to preserve it in certain format. And also you need to speed it to this or feed this serving layer. So that's the engineering is a practice which can able to bring the data and remove the data, process the data and remove this non-quality data and confirm the data that you brought in and serve it,
preserve
So
it and
nowadays-
serve it. So preserve it.
Yeah.
So preserve it, serve
and
it.
then serve it. Yeah. And in here, the data engineering is a term. It evolved in like 2015 onwards. So prior to that, we used to have like data warehousing terminologies like data processor, ETL, ELT. But data engineering started evolving, like I would say 2010.
No, I think so. I was like when I was in college, I never had this term data
Right.
engineering. So I passed out 2014. I used to learn about data warehouse and all, but nothing that time. I didn't heard of data engineering. For me, it is after my college this term has evolved. So that's why I asked what is data engineering, because I'm a software engineer. I don't know much about data engineering. So I just thought it's a good intro to have a what is data engineering.
Correct. So as like in industry, right? You know, I'm an electrical and electronics engineer. So similar terms. So the who do this engineering practice with the data is a data engineer. You can think in that angle. So who always play with the data, bring the data and massage the data, present the data in a format, because various storage units are there. Because you have a row wise data storage is there, columnar type of storage is there. Now the GraphQL is there. And there are a lot of advanced way of storing the data.
Advanced meaning like little more, if you can go.
Yeah, like a graph data, right? If you know the data in a tabular format, you know where to put it.
Yes.
But many a times data may not be in a tabular format, like a semi-structured way.
Like JSON, like a JSON structure.
Correct. So that semi-structure, you know a little bit of it, but you don't know, you cannot able to predict what type of data. You just park it with tapping that header on it, and then the JSON evolves, and then Parquet, ORC, a lot of formats evolved over there. There is unstructured data also there, media, PDF files, and a lot of other things are there, but it doesn't had a value. Don't think like that. It has a real value, right? So we need to have that engineering practice to how to store it, and also how we get the value out of it. So who are working in data engineering has the two ways of looking at. One is like when the data is generated, so you have to gather the data and store it, right? That part is one part. It has to be, that layer has to be supportable whenever that's what you used to call the data pipeline. So you connect the one pipeline source to a destination. That's a pipeline. You feed the data whenever data is there.
Whenever it's generated, you
feed it
and save it.
But you can't connect the same pipeline to that end system.
And obviously
Over there, you need to massage and present it and create a KPI values and things like that out of it, and connect your dashboard or an alert notification or whatever. So that's where the second layer comes in. So the last layer would be supportable to this the dashboard layers. I would say we used to say it as a serve layer, because dashboard is not only the way. Now in markets, data is a product. You can share your data, whatever you created now, right? Like you can share it and get a revenue out of it.
Exactly. So there's a new term evolving, data science. It's not new term relatively, but what is the difference between? So what is data science, and then what is the difference between data engineering and data science?
Yeah. So data engineer, now you know the story of who play with the data, right? Who can able to play with the data, save it, present it in such a way they will ensure the data quality is there. If you ask a data engineer where the data comes in, they can clearly see with the data lineage this is where this data has been brought in. So it helped the industry. So data science is like after you have the data, what is the value that you create out of it, like the predictive models or uh, you know using the scientific terms of predicting the future value, or you can tell them that by this the graph that you can able to see that you can tweak the certain parameters in the source, you can yield a particular result. That's we used to call. One is like descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics is just like describe what's happened in the history that you can tell. And another one is like predictive, which you can predict the future by using the numerous algorithm out there. You can predict. And third one is the prescriptive, where you can prescribe certain function. Probably in a simple terms, a Diwali is coming up, and you can give a certain level of promotion. You can able to easily sell your inventory in a certain terms, right? So that's a prescriptive. So all three terms called data scientist. So the job of data scientist is to create those models out there by leveraging the data.
So basically, getting value out of a data is the data scientist.
Correct, because their role, they should have a statistics knowledge, using all the statistical models out there, and leverage the programming languages to predict or create those statistical forecasting models. So that's where the industry is going on the analytics world, right? Analytics is you play with the data. So that's the data scientist.
Now I understand both. So my first question comes in the mind is, should I get into data engineering first, or should I get into data science role? How should I look at myself to get into what?
Yeah, I would say the data scientist should know the data engineers, but data engineers may not know data scientists, because it's like your engineering practices, it's a secondary for you, right? But data scientists should also know about data engineering, because many a times many company does not have a separate data engineers. To be frank, we used to call the full stack developer. And the term in industry called a full stack developer, who also need to do gather the data, massage the data, use the models, and then create an application or something like that. The end-to-end person is called a full stack developer. In smaller industries, that's where I recommend people should start with that
First with engineering, and then
Yeah.
get into data science.
Correct. And also, like, if you have an opportunity, try it out this full stack developer. Like, you know the end-to-end cycle, right? So I always recommend you take some use cases.
But I'm also a full stack developer, but I don't say that I'm a data engineer or a data scientist, because I'm not. I, I just play with software, like where I touch database, where I touch coding, and create APIs, I create front end and deliver requirement. So that's what I do. But if does a full stack developer mean that they should know data engineering as well? I do not know.
Yeah, because it's like a breadth of the technology that you guys are covering, right? You know the end-to-end life cycle. So now you need to go deeper. So that's where the data engineers, they should not look at what the data all about. I always recommend my team, whenever some people ask you, can you create a dashboard? This is the source. Then they have to do a clear assessment. Ask the question, why I need to do. Try to understand the complete business ask. Many a times, you may not have that luxury, or the people who want to who ask you to solve the problem, they may not put it in a wording what problem that you want to solve. They might put their perspective, but you have to look at landscape of here. Okay, this person is asking only this. Why can't I add value? I can add more, right? So that's where you have to think. I would say first start with full stack developer, then you go to the data engineering. That has various level, Kamlesh. First, it start with data warehousing on-prem, and then now cloud is evolved. So cloud, we have
Sorry, you mentioned R-Prom.
on-prem.
On-prem.
Yeah.
On-prem meaning?
On-prem means like the
On-premise?
Yeah, on-premises data store, right? Like SQL data store, DB2, all these on-premises data stores were there. It is only available for that company. The company, there is a separate CPU, I would say, separate hard disk. You connect it, and it feeds this, like data store is feeding in. It is not accessible for others. But now the cloud evolved. So data is there in cloud. You just need to tap wherever you are there with the credentials and consume the data and feed the data and things like that. So that's where the cloud, you have various layers into the cloud. From then, every company want to expand their business, and they may not have the luxury of connecting the same data store, right? So that's where these cloud providers have evolved, like AWS, Amazon, so Amazon Web Services, Azure, and Google had evolved, where they provide the data store that they created to the vendors who is asking, okay, you can connect here. I will create your data store, preserve your data store in particular region, but you can connect from wherever you are. So that's where the cloud had started. So now the problem becomes much more wider, right? Because the challenges are much more wider because the data is generating everywhere, and you need to preserve in certain format.
And it keeps expanding.
Correct. So that's where this role of data engineers are, very vital nowadays because of the amount of data it's generated.
So, as a college graduate, I should, start with data engineering, or should I get into programming and then get into data engineering?
So I recommend, you start with wherever you are, right? Like whatever the
Mindset you have.
Yeah, you have, especially the languages like C++, Python. So Python is evolving. It is simply applicable in data engineering world.
So, what is R and what is Python? Like, what do you use more?
We use Python only because Python is now kind of a global programming language is used in every application. You can easily applicable. So in a data engineering world, we have Spark language. Okay, so but it is easily accessible in Python. So we call PySpark. Yeah, and we do have other different languages, but it's easy to learn only. So languages, if you very good at in one language, you can easily learn other language because the fund of, okay, you need to create a variable, where to store, what is the command to use, and the encapsulation and all this programming for loop and all the things, right? You know the story.
Yes.
So all you need to you learn one language very well, and you can easily change to another language sooner. You just need to know the format, and nowadays in a generative AI, ChatGPT world, it's very easy.
So you're recommending let's start with Python, and you start, if you want to do full stack, you do full stack, or if you want to get started with data engineering, you can straight away get started from colleges. What you
Correct. Okay. Yeah, because if you look at the current job market, right, I recommend data engineering is evolving much more. Okay. So if you really want to go and explore that thing, no need to wait. You just go and do it. Recently also, there were folks asked me, they come up with a small POC with the trial version, whatever they get it, like Snowflake trial and then Azure trial. So they created their code and repository, try to solve a generic problem like weather forecasting or whatever. So there are a lot of data available in the market. You can leverage the data, and you can create an end-to-end project on yourself, and you can showcase it in your interview also. That will help you.
So create POC and just display what you have done.
For the people who want to come to data engineering, right, I recommend first they need to have one programming language, Python, and SQL. SQL has to be must, and then learn one tool, any ETL tools.
What are the ETL tools? Like one or two tools, if you can say.
Yeah, so every cloud has their native tools. Like Azure has a ADF, and then AWS has AWS Glue, and you can even create the pipeline using Python itself. So learn one ETL tool so that you can able to experiment end to end, and know only one database is enough. So if you are good at let's say Redshift, you learn Redshift. If you are very good at Azure SQL Server, Azure Synapse Analytics, you learn only one database. So if you look at the cloud world, storage, compute, right? Storage, we talked about various different types of storages. Yes. And every cloud company provides their own storage. and compute also same thing. Every cloud native people, they provide their own compute, and there is obviously the tools available who provide you the scalable compute. So in that journey there are two major players out there, who is like Snowflake and Databricks.
Snowflake and Databricks. So yeah, so now we are into this topic of Snowflake and Databricks. Can you say what is Snowflake?
Yeah, Snowflake is a cloud data warehousing spot. It's like cloud native. Entire data is there in cloud completely, and which is founded around like 2010 time frame. From the founders of various gigantic storage people. There are 15 of them. They gathered and created this tool for cloud. So it's a database cloud engine, I would say.
So cloud data warehouse is what you mentioned.
Yeah. So you know that platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and things like that, right? So Snowflake is like database as a service. So they takes care of the entire compute plus the storage for you.
So it is something like MongoDB or something like that, or how is it? Is it different?
Yeah, it's a similar to all the cloud.
Or Azure storage we have. Is it similar to that?
Yeah. So if you look at it in that angle, it's a similar. But if you know the features of Snowflake, because I was there in the journey when we were playing the challenges of other databases tool and the Snowflake, what they brought in, because they have engineered the databases for future. So a couple of things, right? Instantly you can scale. If there is an engine, it need a power, instantly they can scale. They don't need to wait for anything. And it doesn't depend on other people. Usually in databases world, if there is, let's say, the hung up, right? Many people are concurrently querying the data. You will not get that enough compute power for other queries. So it will go on wait mode. That's the round circle, right? It never happened in Snowflake. Because Snowflake instantly scalable, and storage also, you can store numerous things. It will not tell you you're out of memory or you need to clear your cache or something like that. It is just like instantly scalable.
Yeah, but this advantage is okay. I use Azure storage and I don't see that I get stuck, and I believe there are multiple people querying. So
no, but everything. No, you need to predefine your thing. So like Snowflake, the beauty of the architecture, I would say, it's like 3 layer. You can say that the top layer is the security, and the bottom layer is the middle layer is the compute, and the bottom layer is the storage. So all 3 are expanded and instantly scale out, scale in. So you don't need to pay for extra, but for every other tools exist out there,
just for storage itself, you can scale up, scale down.
Yeah, so you need to prepay for in Amazon or whatever the tool that you're working. There are certain tools that if you don't know how much you're going to use, you might end up in paying more in reserving more capacity, or it will be challenges for you to scale out, scale in, and things like that. But Snowflake is very easy.
Is it like straightforward payment here, or pricing? How is the pricing model here? Is it pay as you use, or is it like upfront, like simple plan if I take? How is it?
It's a pay as you go majority, right? So I want to tell you, the storage is like $3 per TP, which is very cheapest because they use the native storage of, which is like files like S3 or Azure Blob storage for storing their data, but it is in their environment. The compute also the similar, very easy. It's like t-shirt sizing. You don't need to confuse about having a different parameters in you, whether you want a
TCL sizing meaning
like small, medium, large, Excel. All you need to choose, okay, whatever the size works out for you. If you see that the query is hanging, you increase the size.
You go to the next tier.
Correct. It's easy. The compute, when you create the warehouse itself, right, you can create in a certain size. And you obviously change the size instantly. Next query will look up the new size.
Cool. So you talk about Snowflake. What is Databricks?
Yeah. So Databricks is a different, altogether a compute supported environment for big data. So it process it in a file. The beauty of Databricks is like you don't need to store the data inside a different controlled environment like Snowflake has. Snowflake, you don't have access to the data because Snowflake hold the data. You cannot access it. You have to always go the 3 Tera I told you, right? You have to always go with, correct. But here data is there in your S3 or wherever, but the compute Databricks provide you.
So they provide compute.
Compute means like the Spark power that they give you, because Spark power is the greatest in the Spark concept, right? Because
No, I don't know what Spark. So you can
Okay.
also talk about that.
Sure, Spark is like, in a simple terms, if let's say,
Apache Spark, right?
yeah, let's say, if a person need to do one job takes like 8 hours, right? He can assign the task to, like, let's say 8 people, and 8 people can do it the work in our time. Just like 1 hour, 8 people, that's the same combination, right? Spark is a data distribution engine where it can assign the work to the individual worker, and they do the work, and completely, you can yield the
You get the
improvement in time.
response.
So that's the advantage of Spark. So Databricks uses that Spark engine, and it is easy for you, because in the big data world, the problem is like processing such a huge file size, right? Huge data size is the problem. So where you distribute it to 100,000 and things like that, you can make the job very easy. So that's the beauty of Databricks, where you can play with the file, and files are there in your cloud environment. You can obviously have a full control on the security with the cloud native. You don't need to depend on any other third party. Yep.
So what do you how to choose when to use Snowflake and when to use Databricks?
Yeah, so nowadays Databricks and Snowflake both are evolving in a very bigger terms. So I left this question for the business use case which you want to solve. That's the same applicable to whatever the tool, right? Because if you look at Snowflake as a warehousing, continuous data warehouse, you want to expand. Snowflake is evolving, and they are now slowly introduced a lot of features in recent Snow Day. So they have introduced a lot of Snowflake Cortex, ML, basically ML supported features. But Databricks is already there. If you want to create a data science, you want to solve the problem in a data science manner, then I recommend Databricks, because they already evolved. The tool is already matured. Many people are using it to solve this data science focused work. But if you want to have only a pure data warehousing nature and things like that, and I recommend to go to Snowflake. But Snowflake also given a AML features now, but you have to watch out for that.
So basically, if in a very simple terms, this is all very complicated the way you're saying, but if you put it in a very simple way, if you look in Amazon, it will, if you see the product you need to buy, the product you might be interested. So Amazon has thousands of product, and then it understands thousands of users, and for each users it will recommend what for you, it will recommend what you might be interested. So that is Apache or Apache Spark and Databricks kind of utilizes that to give that result.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the AI.
No, not about AI. Like as an app, when I see the list of products, when I click on a particular list, I see a product detail, and then at the bottom I have more products you might be interested. So that part is like, it understands you. Obviously it understands your browsing history, and then you have hundreds of product in your database, and then how to choose which product to show you that might interest you. So that comes in, that is when you use Databricks, is what I think.
No, not like that. Yeah, not like that, because it is a predictive. What you're telling is a predictive model.
It's a
Based on the history or whatever the instances, the data that is gathered, it is recommend you the recommendation, product recommendation. So it is the Gen AI is what I would say. This is the AI output. Databricks, you can see that.
If you can tell in this kind of example, it is easier to understand.
See, I would say that ETL engines that we are talking about, right, where you need to go for Informatica or yes, third party tools. That's where where you depend more on the third party tool, even though they bring a lot of values. There are positive about them also. But what I recommend, if you want to go a pure native and you can have a team who can able to create those Spark, Python languages wherever they want to create, I recommend go with the Databricks, because you can own your notebooks, you can create, you can have a clear engineering discipline on each notebook, what you need to do, ingestion, transformation, and data reconciliation, testing, and then finally emailing and things like that. You can clearly carve out the steps you need to do. We used to call it as a framework of data engineering, right? This framework has certain aspects. So
these things, these steps.
So if you have a great team, I think Databricks is a good way, because it's also kind of cheap when compared to that. When you buy a third-party ETL tool, Snowflake kind of they're telling it's cheap, but every cloud tool is the challenge is there, right? You can't go with cheaper, because cheaper is not a best. So obviously, if you want to have a best tool, you need to pay for
it.
Correct. And also, if you don't have a knowledge of its consumption, you will end up in paying more. So that's where you always want to see your cost perspective, do a performance optimization, cost optimization wherever possible. Have a full control on the cost burnout in your platform. So I recommend, what is your use case that you want to solve? From then you start your journey. Okay, what it.
But can you give an example use case so that it becomes easy to break it down? Example use case
for picking the Snowflake.
Yes, for picking the Snowflake.
Yeah, because if
so you talked about Databricks example. So if you want to pick Snowflake,
see Databricks, you should have a team who knows
that's
Spark
what
and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's what.
But if you have a team who was like a pure business people, data analyst kind of role, who is very good at SQL and they know very less about other languages and all, then go for Snowflake, because Snowflake is native SQL query. It can process tons and tons of data in a very pure SQL native query, and they take care of everything. So you don't need to have a very robust engineer to build your data pipeline. With very small SQL steps you can create it. And nowadays there are a lot of features out there in Snowflake itself, which can tell you last week, last month, what happened to this and things like that. The query history is there. It was first released by Snowflake, and now every other tool has been using it. But that will solve a lot of problems in data engineering world.
So it remembers the query. It has a history of your queries, and then based on that, it recommends something. Is what you're saying?
Correct. So basically, the query history. Every time when you store something, when you want to replace it with the folder with another file, it replaces old data, right? But Snowflake, as it's stored in a file has a version, so you can they recommend like 90 days. They have a features to look for the table on last month data, even though today don't have data. So we use it to solve a lot of problems. Let's say data operations, right? So this week we didn't get enough file. Sometimes we didn't get a file. We obviously we didn't get the file from source. But sometimes we get a file, but it is half baked or partial file delivered. So we can compare the count of last week. Maybe it has to be somewhere similar or something like that, right? So we take the anomalies and do an operation wise. It really helps us. And it's very easy also. You don't need to SQL query. Plain SQL, you can compare the query history and things like that.
So I think that's really helpful, because then you're whatever you're missing out as a whatever changes are coming, you get to know upfront.
Correct.
And then you can take decisions.
And it support all three cloud, Azure, AWS, and Google.
Yeah, so that's what my next question was coming into. So I believe you have worked in all major cloud platforms like Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. So can you just talk about data in data engineering perspective in each cloud platform? What is good, or what was the best experience given by which provider? If you can talk about that.
Sure. So if you have a team which is very startup, they're just evolving, they want to do all features and things like that. I recommend go with AWS, because AWS supports lot of startup, lot of recommended tools and applications are available in AWS. Can easily scale up your market and things like that. It's supportive for small and medium size, even though it has a supportable for enterprise application. But I highly recommend, if it's you are a startup, you go for AWS. You get a lot of edge over there. But if you're already an enterprise level company and you already have native Microsoft tools out there already, SQL Server and things like that, then for you to adapt to this, Azure is was give an edge of native connectors and things like that, because all your offices are connected, like Microsoft Teams, SQL Server, Outlook, and everything is connected. And in Azure, it is evolving every day, because already they have a very large enterprise supported, and they easily look out something new comes in market, they put it in their product pipeline. And I saw it's happening nowadays. Microsoft Fabric has released
Microsoft
Fabric, yeah.
Okay.
So which will give you this Medallion architecture of data warehousing.
Medallion.
Yeah, Medallion, in a simple terms, it's like 3-layer. You can think about, bronze, silver, gold.
Okay.
Bronze is when connected with the sources, and then the silver is what you make a meaningful meaning out of the raw data what you brought in, silver, and gold is what the data that you serve to this downstream application. So this is called Medallion architecture. So now the engineering is simple, right? 3 layers are there. What you need to do in each layer, you can easily write the story. So every team trying to adapt it so that their engineering practices can be seenable and you have better governance, better lineage, things like that.
So only Azure has this, or
Every tools are now coming to adapt. So there is a data mesh is coming up, data fabric is coming up. So these are the architectural term, the new technology which can support this, the evolving of the huge data in the market. And the data as a marketplaces, people are selling data now. So that's where the startup I recommend AWS. For the enterprises I recommend Azure. But if you have a big data, very big data, you have you have very huge giant data, I recommend go for BigQuery, Google. Google support. Yeah.
BigQuery is Google Cloud product.
Correct. And that support a lot of Hadoop and big data sizes platform. Yeah, where by nature they created for playing with big data.
Interesting. So, but then you talked about these different cloud platforms, and you said that if you want to connect Snowflake, can you connect Snowflake to any cloud provider? Or?
Yeah, all 3 cloud providers are supportable to Snowflake. Snowflake has the data stored in their cloud environment only, not in that cloud environment, in their tool, which is hosted in your cloud environment. Let's say if you want to pick up Azure, so they will store the data in your Azure, but you are not able to access the data. You have to access the data through Snowflake only. Yeah.
So do you mean that no, there are 2 things, right? Like one is I am the company, I am hosting it in Azure, and I'm using Snowflake platform. Is that what you mean?
Correct. And Snowflake will store the data in whatever you want them to store, but you have to access the data through Snowflake only.
So is that an advantage? Or?
Yeah, in Databricks it's differently. In Databricks, they will store the data in your platform. You can access the data in a file itself directly. You can see the file. Okay, what's there in the file? Use it for a compute as a Databricks, but Snowflake you have to always access to them. So they will have a full control on governance on the data. Who access the data? What happened? Somebody deleted. Metadata is stored over there.
Is that a good thing? Or?
Good thing, because if you know the metadata is the data word where you have to know about the data. That's called metadata, right? What type of data, what is the field values, what is the min max and things like that. So statistic about the data. So if you store the metadata of particular data element, you can do, I would say, 40% of the operation by knowing the metadata itself. For example, right, how many count of the table, you don't need to look out the file and count it. It is already there. While you loading itself, you stored it. I loaded 1 million data. You can give it the data back from the metadata. You don't need to do the count unless the backend data get changed. But for Databricks, every time it has to go and check all the files. Okay, how many files now? Somebody might delete it already. So I'm telling that's the advantage for Databricks is like the file is there. They can do whatever they want. They don't depend on Snowflake. Or whatever.
They don't need to depend on Databricks. They can directly access the file. Okay, that was a good differentiator. So I just wanted to know, now we discussed some portions of data engineering. So what are how to get into data science? What are the tools you want to discuss about data science?
Sure, Kamlesh. So after data engineering, there is two roles exist over there. Closely work with data engineering, which is like visualization team, who takes care of the dashboard build up and things like that. Another team is like data science team. So where data science use AML models to predict the features which can able to make impact of, let's say, sales, let's say the quantity, things like that. So for that, the data science has to consume the data and predict the future, like AI forecasting output or demand planning, or whatever the output that models predict. So that person has to have a statistical knowledge and then know that the data also, because they have to know that the breadth of the data that they are bringing in available, or else available in, so that they can use the data and see what's going to happen and which model can predict the future. So every month we use the engine to predict the future, like AI forecasting outputs, and every month after we compare with the actual sales with that forecasting, how good the model behaved.
Okay.
Yeah. So data science has first you create a model, then
you create a model as a data scientist. You spoke about visualization and then
data scientist.
No, one is the data visualization model and one is the
visualization is not a model. Visualization is like dashboarding.
Sorry, visualization and then data modeling or models to generate this kind of output. So can you just tell first about visualization part and then get into the model part?
Yeah. So visualization is kind of a descriptive analytics of how do you put the data as it is in a meaningful way. Let's say a particular market, particular team, how it behave, what is that variable, what is that they want to look at. Okay, it's going up, going down, it is missing here. So you can know that how your KPIs are behaving, right? And from then also you can look at the data. Okay, there is sales is not moving, there is something, inventory is growing, there is finance figures are not correct, something like that. With what happened, right, you can tell a descriptive about the data. That's called the visualization. So that's like a data story. If you write the story in such a way, right, you can make some impact to these meetings and things like that, so they can yield meaningful action out of your insights. So that's there are various tools available, various connectors and things like that available. So that's the part of visualization team. Another team is like data science team, who create AML models.
Okay.
So by nature, they have to see the data available and see the forecasting output. Okay, what is going to happen? Let's say for the sales, so this product is going to get more or less based on the past value and also future values, right? Let's say there is a promotion coming in, there is a holiday comes up. So what you need to prepare, you that model will give you that indication of something's going up, something you need to get prepared and things like that. For that, the data science role is must. If you
to prepare the data model.
Correct. If you have a great models created, then you don't need to worry about anything, because that will take care of it. That's I would say version of Gen AI only.
Yeah, obviously.
It is creating your predicting your future. So every time we used to in our company, we used to predict the forecasting output, and also we go back and compare what happened, how well we performed. So and also we leverage that third party tools out there. We use them also. Okay, if I have used the different models, let's say I don't want to name the company, but the different company outputs, how well we are good at it. whose model is better, and we learn from each other.
For visualization, do you have like obviously Azure has Power BI,
Correct.
then there is Grafana. So any tools?
Yeah, there are a lot of tools are there. Tableau, MicroStrategy,
Yeah, Tableau.
Click. So every tools has an advantage. The art is like, even the tool exists, what story that you want to tell them, right? Yeah. So that's the problem. And one data engineering practices, I would say, from data engineering perspective, the dashboards should not create data or create logic, because if you keep the logic in the reporting tool, obviously you're not able to share that logic to others or the data to others. So that is why this medallion architecture exists. Whatever the logic that you want to create, you create it in the silver and gold, and give only the data to that reporting tool. They should not create another KPI which will give another result to this leadership team, and another big problem will come up.
Okay, nice. So, but have you used any visualization tool?
Yeah, we use Click predominantly, and then Power
Is
BI
it any cloud? Is it from any cloud?
No, it's separate separate tool only. But Power BI is native to Microsoft. We are now moving more on the Microsoft Power BI, Power Platform, and things like that.
So my question is, now we are generating a lot of data. As a company, there might be a lot of sensitive data. Should we give access to the model to those sensitive data to be more accurate? What is your thoughts on that? Or how are company dealing with those things?
Correct. So I belong to a supply chain team where our data are not that much sensitive, or we don't have SSN. Personal information is not there. But for the AI ML model, I recommend we have to somehow have a ethics of not sharing that personal identifiable information to those model.
So personally identifiable things can be omitted, but correct, personal things can be shared so that it is accurate.
That's true. That's true. But we are not talking about Gen AI here, right? Because Gen AI, the problem is like the models use your data as a prediction algorithm in their bigger tools that they created. For example, ChatGPT. So it has the data of till the 2020, and then with that it can write anything, whatever you're asking, it is going to tell you. So for those models, you have to preserve your all the PA information. But the models what we are creating, it's just like a function, like f of x equal to x plus y or whatever. So for that, it's no harm, because you control the entire engine. You are not sharing the data outside. So you have full control. You don't need to worry about that PA information for the AML models. But Gen AI, every industry is now thinking about, okay, if I share it, what will happen? Do I need to have a separate guideline? How to deal with this the Gen AI? Right? Every industry is gonna adapt to this Gen AI, knowingly or unknowingly. You have to know a Gen AI in future. So it's going to be like this, Kamalesh. Person who knows the Gen AI will definitely replace you. The person who don't know the Gen AI in future,
obviously.
You have to. It's like calculator comes in the market, right? People were afraid. Okay, calculator is there. All the Kumasta and all the other clerk roles will be gone. No, it didn't gone. It helped the humanity only. That's how I look at the Gen AI.
Even I look at it like, what happens is when I do programming, we can ask in this set of line how you can improve my code. It will give a better. I do not say it can be better or not. It gives another alternative, another eye, the way you have implemented, and then you can choose.
Yeah, and then
that is very powerful.
You should not blindly believe that, but you have to
yes, exactly.
That, and
you have to see from another lens. You get like pair programming is what we say. Like you get another lens to visualize how other way of that implementation can look like. So that really is important. It is same for data engineering as well?
Correct. It's like kind of an advanced version of Google search, right? It just now give you a clear recommendation from that tool. we started using some of the Gen AI tools in our day-to-day life also. We started experimenting it.
Cool. So now we talked. We have covered your journey. We covered about cloud. We covered about Snowflake, data science. I want to get into team management. Like, how do you manage team? How do you do like give training to newly join? What are the processes in place?
Yeah, thanks, Kunal. That's an interesting topic altogether. Because I look at myself both area. Person who knows the technology also knows that people management and things like that. See, when you give a freedom to your team, or when you have full freedom, and you be with the team, uh, and if you got a good team who can able to know what is your expectation, that solves your all the complexities out there. So I got a very great team in Philips. um, we have created the team in all our diversity is there. We have interns, we have senior data architects, mid-level people, and everywhere, every combination. So I work with them day to day. The energy and perspective from each and every individual is amazing actually, because when you throw a problem, you will get a different resolution altogether. Like what makes you is like you have various ways version of the solution available, and you can deploy the team wherever you want to create. And whenever a new person join in my team, I always give them a challenge. Okay, you have to challenge the existing status quo, come with your perspective. I'm ready to take it forward. So all the new people always set my bar a little bit up only. Whoever joined new, they always challenge it, and they shined, or they changed the existing status quo in a positive manner. So it's a nice journey. um, People management, I look at as a friendly to the team. I people who works under me, they know my story. It's like forming another family or friends in office network with this professional boundaries. And if you give the freedom and to thought, you always force them to, you have to work. No, give the freedom, and let them come up with the
Their
ways
own
of solving
ideas.
it and ideas, and respect their ideas. And at the end of the day, even if you disagree, you have to commit to that, right? So that makes your day to go on a certain level. So that I have seen in a recent survey also. Our team had respected and very given very positive feedbacks about my team and my leadership team, which was great actually.
Yeah, when you give free hand, obviously there are other challenges, but I feel more than challenges, there are more positive results. When the output goes right, there are really impactful positive results which shapes up in a very new way. So my question to you next is, like, how do you take care of constantly train or evolve your team? How do you do that? Like, what are the steps you, at least if you are not even doing, what you recommend?
Sure, sure. No. We are doing it every day, every opportunity, every meeting, every call, every email. Everything is an opportunity for us. Right? I look at like that only. So many conflict comes up, with the mindset of, no, I am right, that person is not right, kind of thing. Here, both of them are right, right? Both of them are doing something good for the company and things like that. Only the perspective or the way that we look at is different. I always have that mind. Okay, this person has a different experience. He's also good, and I'm also good. Let's work closely. With my new team, my leadership, he always told me, like, you keep everybody in a seat at the table, so that you will at least avoid the conflict of, you didn't tell me earlier, you didn't. So everybody has a seat at the table. In my team also same thing. We run the team like that. So every opportunity is a learning opportunity. Every week we have a market watch, sharing what they learned in the week. uh, Nothing in their code or something like that, but whatever they learned, somebody will tell their personal story, something they learned, some financial things and things like that. We share. uh, so that helps us. Even in the COVID time, we didn't feel that we are remote. We are very very well connected. We have fun times. we back each other. If there is some challenging situation comes in, we put our hands together, and we always be with the team. And the same thing that my leadership team and company also do it for us, which is very great. So if you have a great team, then obviously you're on right path. You can if imagine there is 19 member in my team. We want to share their learnings every day. I used to write, okay, particular person what he's sharing, what he learned, something like that. And also after that, I will go back and look at the notes. Something I need to go back and learn, right? Because new things you can't keep always updated, but every person will learn in a different perspective.
Yes.
The same topic, but they will learn in a different angle. Correct. So how do you encourage the team in a positive, fun-filled manner? Does help me to keep the team. I grow the team from like 3 member to now 20 member team.
Oh, from 3 to 20.
Yeah.
Nice.
So everybody who worked under me in Philips, they always respect me, Ganesh, like you are the great leader. Because of various different difficult situations, they want to leave the organization, but they still on my WhatsApp and LinkedIn and things like that, they always
stay connected.
Corrected, yeah.
That's important, being connected. Some or the other time, you just have someone to rely on or to have your back on. Obviously, you might not have touch base now and then, but you know that there is someone whom I can reach to.
Correct. So the learning, we have a learning from each opportunity, what I told you, like whether you get success or failure, that's a different story. I recommend you fail first so that you can learn, right? You do something and you fail first and you learn from there. That's where the agile comes in. And then we always have many learning opportunities available. Not only the technical learning, but also the professional learning, leadership learning, people learning. So a lot of things are there. We go out to the summits, we go out to the colleges, we go out to this workshop and present ourselves. And there are mediums that we can share our learnings. As a community, we have to solve the problem, is what I always look forward.
So all these are data engineers in your team, or they're different background?
Yeah, so data engineer, data visualization people, data quality persons, data architects and things like that. So the important thing is, like, whenever we learn, we make ourselves. I'm not here to solve only my problem, but I'm solving the community problem, which I admire most, because there are many folks who completed a lot of certification in their data engineering and things like that, which helps me. Even I brought in some diversify candidate. People may be very good at data infrastructure, people very good at .NET and front end creators, but they have recently converted to data engineering. So I have brought them also, because we might use them, because we are using them. When I brought them, I don't have an idea, but we are using them. Each and every individual has a different strength. We use that, and we share the learning with the other team. Now everybody is looking forward something new for them, right? Because we know this Gen A is coming up, and I already started making my team to open up their heart and learn from whatever is there.
I think that is it from my side, but if you have more question to me, you can throw it up.
No, it was a great session, Kamlesh, because I could able to kept some time out of my regular schedule and think it out. It gave me an opportunity, and all the very best for your idea that what you are doing here, because it's not something I would say in the industry, people would like to give back something to society. It may not always be a money, right? It always like to help each other. And to make a better society. That's what
grow the community. Correct. Or to make community more aware, basically. So obviously I'm not doing anything great. It's just my curiosity to learn more, and maybe if it helps others, that is my idea. And definitely talking to you gave me a lot of idea in depth of data engineering, in depth of data science. I thought both are one, but I thought both are one in the sense like data engineer evolve into data science is what I thought, and that is what it is. But I thought it is it's the same person doing, but I I now get more differentiator angle. Obviously, I did Google what is Snowflake before we came to this podcast, but you know, I from you I get what is Snowflake, what is Databricks, what to use when. So that is really important differentiator. At which scenario to which platform to use.
So all the tools that what we talked about is giving a free trial. There are a lot of free training materials available in there: Azure, AWS, Snowflake, Databricks. Please feel free to use those free material available.
Could you recommend any nice material
Sure,
for
sure.
our viewers
Yeah.
to view?
Yeah, I will give it to you. Probably will add it in the
I'll
description.
add in the description and they can have a look.
So there are numerous free material available. Let's say for Azure, so Azure fundamentals, Azure data fundamentals. So a lot of fundamental certification available on the learning software.
Is there a separate course called Azure Data Fundamental?
Yeah,
Data Fundamental.
correct.
Okay.
So there are each general fundamentals, data fundamentals exist in Azure as well as AWS also. So I highly recommend people to take that thing. And whenever you do that, go that learning properly. It's a free available from those cloud vendors. You take the training, and then do practice it. So practice one end-to-end project by leveraging all the Azure services or whatever needed for the certification or whatever. Then you have a full hands-on experience on the end-to-end project. Then you can obviously excel well. And I highly recommend do a Google it and read a lot of blogs out there who can share their lessons learned journey, tips, tricks, and things like that. So that will definitely help you out. So now everything is in your mobile only. It's a matter of time you need to.
So can you give us some links or some blog post which would help our users
Sure.
to start this journey?
Sure, yeah, I will share it with you. You can put it in a description.
Yeah, I'll put in
Easy.
the description.
Yep.
That'll be great. Thank you so much. I feel really valuable having you here and learning a lot about data engineering, data science, and broadening my tech perspective even more.
Yeah, my pleasure, Kamlesh. Yeah, I wish you all success. You're doing something great. I wish you like you go miles because that's needed in the society, right? To help the people, because people that are out there who stuck up and they don't know what are the world of opportunities available for them, and it definitely will help some of those people. Is what I believe. Continue the journey.
Yeah, let's see where it goes. I'm not I'm not saying about help or anything. My idea is like, if you are into tech, you always feel in life how to broaden your perspective in terms of story, in terms of inspiration. I feel that is what I started my journey, and I want to bring back that inspiration or story way of looking your journey forward, and that's why I'm doing this. I hope it it comes out in that way. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I will get connected. Do let me know if there is any questions from your community that they want further Q&A questions or something. Or
Yeah, definitely. So if you guys have more questions, please comment. We would definitely get solved through Ganesh. So let's start with the rapid fire round where you'd have to be quick and entertaining. So first question: Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud? If you had to pick one for rest of your career, which one would it be and why?
I'll pick Azure.
You'll pick Azure.
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's where I'm hard found it, and I see that there is a large growth in there, and also it helps us to solve a lot of those problems out there. Is what I believe. So
Should data privacy be compromised for better AI algorithms?
no, it should not compromise.
Okay, let me put it this way. Personally identifiable data should not be compromised, but other things are debatable.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Can open source software truly be a rival to a proprietary ones in terms of security and reliability?
No. You look at the open source as an world of opportunity, because there is a community will help you to build the products. So I go with open sources programs, because wherein like the society itself building the program, right? Like you don't need to invest, and the problems out there. Maybe you go with proprietary. Many a times you may not have the resource to solve those backlog features, but it will get speed up in the open sources.
So you're saying you will still back open source?
Correct.
NoSQL or SQL? Which side are you on when it comes to scalability?
SQL is what got fun, but NoSQL is evolving, but I still go with SQL.
When it comes to scalability?
Yes, that's what nowadays there are tools and techniques out there which can use the SQL language, to support that.
Which will be more influential in 10 years, data engineering or data science?
Now, influencing, I go with data science because data engineering is needed for data science. So in that way, data engineer will also get needed in the industry because of data science and other people. They want to solve the problem.
That was intuitive because makes sense. Is Snowflake popularity just a hype, or is it a future of data warehousing?
I think it's a future of data warehouse because I started 2018. It was 1,500. Now 8,000 customers using it. 8,000 Fortune 500 and all those people are using it. I see a very long way to go. It's heavily funded program.
It's funded by?
Heavily funded.
Like who is funding it? Like,
all the major folks are. I don't know the specification, but it's a heavily funded program when compared to other tools out there.
So you're definitely betting on it.
Correct.
Cool. Name a programming language that you think is overrated.
Okay, so overrated. No, I would say it's correctly rated only. Python is what I would say. Python is started as I was telling you the story.
So you are saying Python is not overrated, but it's overly used.
Correct. Yeah.
Is work from anywhere culture a productivity booster or a silent killer?
I support its boost only.
It boosts.
Yeah.
Product. Would you rather work for a startup or a corporate giant?
For now, corporate, but I love to pick up those startups also in future.
So you're saying that.
So what we do, I'll tell you. So we do the startup work in corporate.
But
that is what we do.
But then if you do the startup work, you get a lot of sharing. Like I get company shares also. Like I might get revenue also, as well as I get a lot of shareholding. Then there a lot of ownership. But I don't know if it is the same story in corporate.
Definitely not the same story. But what I want to tell you is like startup kind of mindset we have it in, even though we are in corporate.
Yeah, but then what is the benefit?
And things like that. Yeah, things will get changed.
Things will get changed. Okay, that's good. Is it changing already?
Started. Everybody, in a corporate also, they look forward what startup, why they are,
people are going to startup. But then also in terms of rewarding, they are also coming up with those ownership or shareholding ownership.
Obviously, it do exist.
That's new learning for me. I never knew that existed in corporate gyms. Cool. I think that's all I had. It was great having you here. Learn a lot of things. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Kamalesh. It's been a pleasure, meeting you and your community. All the best for whatever you are doing. We will get connected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for watching this episode on data engineering and data science with Ganesh. It was really an impactful session where we talk about data engineering tools and cloud tools used in this. If you like this content and got to learn much more on this, join me in our journey at Code Brew Lounge, where we talk about engineering, coding, programming, and life. Let's debug life together at Code Brew Lounge.